Welcome to The Lighthouse Keeper's Secret, read by the author. Chapter 1, The Old Man on the Point. Storms were regular guests on the jagged coast of Bright Sea, their voices echoing across the bluffs, rattling cottages, and keeping even fishermen on shore when the seas grew restive. Atop the highest headland, the lone watchman of these tempests was the lighthouse at Morningside Point, a gray stone pillar with a steady lamp that had outlasted ships, storms, and nearly everyone in town. Inside, far from the laughter of the harbor and the warmth of markets, lived Mr. Ezekiel Rowan, known everywhere as Old Zeke. He was a man of careful routines, up before daylight, oiling the Fresnel lenses and winding gears, tending to repairs with battered hands that seemed to have forgotten how to be gentle. Children sometimes left daisy chains on the gate. Fishermen brought gifts of fresh cod. No one recalled ever seeing Zeke at the bakery, the summer fairs, or even Christmas Eve services. When a child strayed near the tower, the door stayed firmly shut. Rumors grew like moss in a damp cellar. Zeke was miserly, strange, a hermit with a heart of stone. He hoarded his salary and shunned company. His only companion, a muttering Gaul named Scout. Yet every night, without fail, the light swept outwards, guiding ships past the shoals. In roaring gales or still, star-heavy darkness, Zeke never missed lighting the lamp. Chapter 2, Whispers and Wonders. With every year, Bright Sea changed. Nets grew lighter, new faces appeared in the windows, and the heart of the town beat a little faster, except at the lighthouse. Mothers pulled children close, warning, "You mind Zeke's land, he can't abide trespassers." At school, kids played lighthouse ghost, daring one another to toss stones over the low wall or run up the path by the keeper's cottage. Only one girl, a wiry, bookish kid named Molly Burns, stood against the teasing. She didn't believe Zeke was a monster. She lived near enough to see the man each evening, lantern in hand, eyes following the endless reach of the sea. But even Molly never risked knocking at his door. Chapter 3, A Hidden Harvest. Years passed. Molly grew, studied, and helped by some unknown benefactor, went to college. She returned a teacher, heart brimming with stories and hope, determined to make a difference in the town that had raised her. Occasionally she'd spot Zeke at dawn, hobbling across the rocks, his wild gray beard flecked with salt, his coat patched and waterproofed with endless layers of wax. Some called her foolish, but Molly taught her students what she'd glimpsed. You can judge a story by its cover, but you'll miss the plot inside. One autumn, after an especially brutal storm, Zeke's light did not sweep across the water. The town awoke to stillness, and by midday, news traveled. Old Zeke had passed away. Found at his post, lantern beside him, and Scout wailing at the door. Despite his solitude, the church filled for his funeral, carried by curiosity as much as respect. Chapter 4, Zeke's Ledger. Arrangements for Zeke's effects fell to the mayor, an old childhood friend. Expecting little but a few battered uniforms and sea charts, the officials found a battered trunk tucked away under Zeke's cot, Inside, they discovered a series of ledgers, each page marked in Zeke's tiny, scrupulous hand. The entries covered 30 years, each a record of modest financial withdrawals. August 1994, stationery set for AC, shoes for SS. September 2001, college entry fees for MB, books for CL. August 2014, tutoring for JY, new backpack for VN. The initials matched dozens of townsfolk, most from families who had never guessed someone else gave their children a start each school year, helped with doctor's bills, or paid the last dollars of their college testing fees. A pile of receipts and thank you notes, some never sent, tucked just beneath the ledgers, told the story of a man whose hands were rough, but whose heart had sown hope across generations. Word spread fast. Many, including Molly, wept as they pieced together their memories. Gifts that had arrived just in time, never explained, wrapped with only a note from a friend. Chapter 5, Light Remembered. Molly could not sleep for nights after, replaying the lines of her own acceptance letter. The years when her mother thought an angel watched over them. The truth left her aching with gratitude and regret that she, none of them, had ever seen past the lighthouse's stones. Weeks later, the town gathered in the school auditorium, voices low. The lighthouse, autumn-wrecked, roof leaking, was due for closure, funds exhausted. Some council members muttered, "Maybe it's time to let the old place go." No one even lived there happily. Molly stood, heart pounding. We know now what Zeke gave us. He saw what we needed when we didn't even know ourselves. He kept us safe. On the water, yes, but also with gifts that helped us grow. We can't let the light go dark. Let's honor him. Restore the lighthouse for all to see. Chapter 6, Turning the Tide. It began with the children, painting pebbles and selling them at the wharf for coins. Molly organized a Light for the Keeper campaign. A fisherman auctioned his biggest catch. The bakery offered a week of sales. Families who had once whispered about old Zeke sent in letters, telling how his friendship had helped them, shaping the town. Donations grew. Contractors volunteered to replace the roof. Fishermen patched the old dock. The children, proud and determined, scrubbed years of salt from the walls and weeded the garden. An old classmate, now an engineer, sketched plans for energy-efficient upgrades. One gray dawn, as Molly swept the cottage's small porch, she found a battered envelope addressed simply, "To Brightsea, with love." Inside lay the deed to the lighthouse, Zeke's final act of trust, willing it to the town. Chapter 7, Restoring the Beacon. Restoring the lighthouse was more than rebuilding stone and glass. It was accepting Zeke finally, learning that true charity has quiet beauty. A plaque was cast in bronze, not of the keeper himself, but an inscription, "Let the light endure," not because it is seen, but for all it helps to guide. Local teens, once wary, now tended the lamp under supervision, studying Zeke's meticulous journals on weather and maintenance. The school made field trips of lighthouse care, teaching that invisible gifts often shield us more than the tallest walls. Every autumn, on the night the town once feared storms most, they lit candles along the pier, sending lanterns floating out to sea, a thank you for every kindness given without applause. Chapter 8, Beyond the Keeper. After Zeke, brightness learned to look deeper, beyond gruff voices and guarded gazes. The town's kindness tripled. Neighbors shared children. Children grew up believing in secret giving. Those rescued by Zeke's compassion, Molly, the fisherman's son, the baker's daughter, became the ones leaving supplies on porches, tutoring after class, paying bookstore tabs for strangers. And though storms still roared, the lighthouse shone through velvet black nights, no longer the kingdom of a lonely soul, but a beacon kindled by gratitude, humility, and memory. Long years after, Molly, now headmistress, looked from the school window toward Beacon Hill. She watched the lighthouse wink on as dusk crept in, felt the children's hearts brighten, and remembered how one man, misunderstood and alone, left a legacy of quiet, selfless love. For true charity, she taught her students, seeks no applause, it burns on, steadfast, steady, a hidden light in the storm. Moral: true charity seeks no applause.